Yeah, field trip again. We're going to another reptile show today, and this one is a lot smaller and a lot farther away than the last one, but I have an agenda, so it's going to be worth the drive. Stick around till the end of this video because I'm going to show you why I really am not picking up anything in Bakersfield today. I'm going to show you what I picked up at the Pamona show. Welcome to the Green Room. I'm Bob Bledsoe. I'm going to put Lucille away, and then I'm going to hit the road. I'll tell you from my car what my plan is for this show. Hey, I am not going this time. Say hello to my brother Kent. I agree, you were totally useless at the last one since you wouldn't even come near the front door of the show. They had snakes and lizards there. That means if you survived the onslaught of snake attacks, you'd be clawed to death by lizards and they'd sting you with their sting tongues. Well, in that case, I'm glad we survived. Look, this is still a work day for you, so get something done while you're here today. At least shoot at Kent's corner. Hold down the fort while I'm gone. You know I will. You can count on me. Can I really, though? Because don't be negative. Okay, you guys, here we go. I'm going to be honest with you guys. That exterior car footage was from a couple weeks ago, but I'm not going to keep drawing on my car. Do you know how long it took me to wash subscribe off my steering wheel? Alright, for those of you who watch my videos, you're probably watching other reptile videos as well from breeders or just reptile people, and I'm sure that you've heard of the Lacey Act amendments that have been snuck into this 3,000-page act called the America Competes Act. Everybody's doing videos about these. I actually did one. I did a minute-long video last week about it, but it's really important. So for those of you who don't watch other videos, this might be helpful, but I think it's important that everybody hear it a number of times. I'm going to this reptile show in Bakersfield so that I can chat with a few people that are in the reptile industry and find out what their thoughts are on this. I'm just going to give a brief overview. What's happened here is the America Competes Act has nothing to do with animals. It's actually a pretty good bill. I mean, I haven't read the bill, but it's got some good stuff in it from what I understand. The America Competes Act is a massive bill that has nothing to do with animals. And what happens a lot of times is these people that draft up these huge bills will slip in a piece of legislation that they know would not pass on its own. And these Lacey Act amendments, everybody knows, would not pass on its own. If they did pass, if they pass this America Competes Act, a lot of good things would happen, but then this one little thing about animals would happen, and basically it would make you a felon if you took your well, let's say you had a mainland reticulated python, or it doesn't have to be mainland. If you have a reticulated python, you would be a felon for taking it across state lines. So if you had to move because of your job, or you got stationed somewhere, you're in the military and had to move, you would have to abandon your animals or become a felon. Let's say you live in Post Falls, Idaho, which is right on the border of Washington. It's a small town. There's no exotic vet in Post Falls, Idaho, but there is 20 minutes away in Spokane, Washington. You would be a felon for taking your animal to the vet. So this would ruin, aside from obviously ruining a ton of businesses, breeders could no longer ship their animals out of state. All of a sudden, they're only working with animals within the same state, and you're breeding in a small gene pool at that point. It would put a ton of breeders out of business. It would put lots of pet equipment manufacturers out of business. The scientific community that is doing research on exotic animals would be out of luck as well. And this isn't just for reptiles. This is for any animal that's not a dog or a cat or a farm animal. Last week, I posted a 1-minute video that talked about what you could do without going super in depth. I'm going to go over it again. It's super quick because it takes you almost no time at all. Go to usark.org/2022 Lacey. I think that's it. I'll put it on the screen, and I'll also link it in the description. But on that page is a link to find out who your senators are. You have 2 of them. Email each of those senators, and this is so easy because you're going to click that link, find out who your 2 senators are, click on one of those senators, and that'll pop up a thing that'll have a contact button. Click on that, and it's a whole contact form that you fill out. Also on that USARC page is a sample letter and a sample subject line. Just copy those and paste them, and then add your name and change whatever you need to change to make it yours. But remember this, what we need to see is a whole bunch of people sending letters, emails, faxes, handwritten letters, whatever, it doesn't matter, but with the same type of subject line. So look at that subject line and do something similar to that. This bill has already passed in Congress, and it's going to the Senate for some modifications. They're negotiating on it, stuff like that. The senators don't know that this Lacey Act thing is even in there. It's like 3 or 4 pages within a 3,000-page bill that has nothing to do with animals, okay? So keep this in mind when you're writing letters. These senators are not trying to take away your animals. They're not even trying to prevent you from moving your animals across state lines. This is one congressman snuck this thing into the middle of the bill. The senators don't even know it's there. So when you write your letters, if you're not just doing a copy-paste, please be professional and nice. Do not use caps lock. All you're doing is informing them that there's a thing about the Lacey Act in the middle of this bill, and you should know about it because it's going to have some negative effects, and here are the negative effects. That's all you're doing. You're just telling somebody that doesn't know. It's much better to go in really nice and respectfully and professionally than it is to throw on your caps lock and start banging out a letter. Do it for both your senators. That's 2 things. You're doing it for one senator, doing it for another senator, and then while you're on usarc.org, become a member, because USARC is the only organization that fights for your right as a reptile keeper. And they do a lot of work, and they're constantly going to court for things, and that's extremely expensive. So your membership not only allows their membership base to grow, so when they go to the government and say, hey, we're an organization with X amount of members, it's much better to say we're an organization with 200,000 members versus 50 members, right? So become a member. But also that money helps them pay for their costs. So that's why we're going to Bakersfield. We're going to go see some cool animals, talk about animals, but I also want to get people's thoughts on these Lacey Act amendments. I love a good false water cobra. These are venomous, but they're rear-fanged venomous, so they're not going to do much if they bite you, but they're so cool. If I was green room pythons and false water cobras, I'd probably get this snake, but I'm not, so. It's so cute. He doesn't even want to bite me. He doesn't want to inject his rear-fanged venom into me. Johnny from the Reptile Shop. So, obviously everybody's concerned about the Lacey Act situation. Tell me how you think this would affect the business if they pass.
I think it's going to affect everyone, down from business owners to hobbyists to enthusiasts. I think once this law, if it does pass, it opens up more room for more laws to pass and to tighten things even more on us. It's going to let other people make decisions on what we can keep, what we can't keep, what we can breed, what we can't breed.
You guys sell your animals out of a shop in Temecula.
Correct.
Are you also shipping them?
Yes,
all over.
Yes, we ship all over the U.S. And that's huge for us. Without that business, I don't think we could survive very long, and I don't think a lot of people can survive. That's what we rely on. That's where we get our customer base from too.
Right.
And especially when we travel to shows, that's going to affect us too. Crossing state lines with animals.
Yeah, because you're not just doing shows in California.
No, we do Utah, Texas, Nevada, Colorado, while we plan on going to Washington and Oregon.
So the fact that, and you're not the only shop that goes all over the place, the fact that people wouldn't be able to travel to shows, how do you think that would affect the shows?
Oh, I think it would cut, the number of vendors would be probably cut in half immediately overnight, because not only would the cost be just ridiculous as far as how much money would be lost, the amount of money that would be lost for what people rely on for these shows. You know, I mean, this is how we live. This is how we, this is how we pay our bills. This is how we take care of our animals, and that affects everything we do. Yeah, everything.
It's a big problem.
It's a huge problem.
You want to show me some snakes?
I'd love to.
Let's do it. All right. Tell me about this guy.
So these are albino western hognose. You can find these guys in Texas and surrounding states. They don't get very big. They stay pretty small. They're usually pretty super friendly. Absolutely rear-fanged. Most of them won't bite though unless you entice them to. And this one is an albino. A little better color there.
Do you think there's a difference between a hognose bite, a hognose envenomation versus a false water cobra envenomation?
Absolutely. I mean, it's two different. First of all, it's two different types. Definitely not like a bee sting. Completely different.
Yeah, people say bee sting a lot.
Yeah, they do say a lot, and that's incorrect. That's not.
I've always been skeptical of that.
Yeah. This is a Hypo Arizona Mountain King. Just getting ready to go into shed. Obviously, they come from Arizona. Don't get very big. Stay about 3 feet.
What are you feeding a snake that size?
So this size, we're going to do pinky mice, usually frozen thawed, but most of them take live.
Do they do like rat tails straight out of the egg?
Yes, they do. And so this is what they originally look like. So this is what years of selective breeding do. The one on the left is a Hypo. The one on the right is what we started off with.
Wow. So is Hypo a gene in these, or is this a polygenic trait that you've selectively bred?
Absolutely, it's a gene. It reduces, It takes all the black away.
So cool.
Yeah, these guys are neat. And they don't get very big, so it makes them really cool snakes to keep.
Is that a recessive gene in those?
Yes, it is.
Cool.
And this one on the right carries that gene.
Nice. So that's a het for Hypo, and that's a visual Hypo. Love it. We've wandered around here for long enough. I think it's time to cut to Kent's Corner. Hi folks, Future Bob here, just editing away. I'm not surprised to have to tell you that Kent spent the entire day in Kent's Corner without shooting at Kent's Corner. Fortunately, I set up a security camera earlier to monitor that corner, and so let's just cut to a montage of how Kent spent his day. Dang it, Miss Pac-Man. That's why you're not nearly as popular as Mr. Pac-Man. We will rock you. We will rock you. Awesome. Hi, can I speak with Flo, please? From the commercials. Isn't this Progressive Insurance? No, it's okay, she knows me. I've written her like 500 letters. I've even hand-delivered a couple to her house. Well, then can I speak with your manager?
Hi everyone, I'm Future Bob, and I have editing skills, and I wear a fancy hat. But I take my horse and gallop across and knock everybody down. That caused me damage, but wait till you see this move. I can make a fort out of anything.
Hi, can I have 4 large meat lovers pizzas with extra meat, please, and put it on Green Room Python's tab? Green Room Pythons. Well, they're a very large corporation, so I think they're good for it. You don't have tabs for businesses? Unbelievable. Just cancel the order then. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. It's good advice. Waterfalls are dangerous, man. Ah! Well, that one's lost. Yes! Finally! Nobody saw it. I'm never gonna find that beard scrunchie now. You guys, he had all day to film this, so I hope he didn't disappoint. By the way, I have a hole in my heart the shape of a carpet python. You guys know that. Look at this little face. I'm gonna get my face out of it so it focuses. Look at that little face. Did it focus? I love it. Oh, you have 3 in there. Look at these.
There's 4 total.
Oh, there's 4. Oh my
can hold
gosh.
all of them if you want.
I had no idea. It was just a pile of snakes. There you go.
They're like intertwined. You see that? They're like slithering together. Must be friends.
So this is a albino patternless northern pine snake. She is one of 4 currently in the world. All 4 are females. She was produced by Mark Mel. Our other here was produced by us 3 years ago. These animals are also, it's a codominant gene, meaning there's a super form, and we are hoping to produce the world's first leucistic northern pines 2 years from now. These are big animals too. These guys will reach 6 to 8 feet long. This is number 1. She's the first one ever born.
How would it affect you as a...
It'd kill us. It would put us completely under. There's no way that we could continue doing what we do and surviving if these laws were to be enacted. You know, this was dealt with through the Supreme Court years ago, and they've found a back door to get it in as per usual. It needs to be ousted, and we need to start standing up and doing something. It's getting to be time.
I'm really concerned about being able to keep diversifying my breeding, colony, because if I'm not able to get things from maybe some other states and things like that, then where does that leave me as far as diversifying my...
Tell me what you're breeding again?
I'm breeding New Caledonia geckos, like crested geckos, gargoyle geckos, Leachianus, Urodactylodes. These are all geckos from New Caledonia.
And you told me you just opened a store, right?
On April 1st last year, I just opened a store. So we're almost a year new, but in Livermore, California. And it just seems like, if this goes through, what is that going to do to me? Because it's like a new store, and I'm just like, oh gosh, what is that going to do to my, my breeding?
So that was just some of the ways that these new amendments might affect businesses. But remember, these will also affect you as a keeper. So I'm sure that many of you have already taken action and contacted your senators, and a lot of you are planning to do that already. Really appreciate that. Now on to part 2 of this video, which is check out what I picked up in Pamona. Okay, you guys, we're outside for the end of this thing, and we have construction going all over the neighborhood, and I've got airplanes and helicopters flying, so I'm sure you can hear my voice over all that, but sorry about the noise. Anyway, a few weeks ago, I released a video about the Pamona Reptile Super Show. And in that video, if you remember, my only goal of going to that show was to not buy anything. So let me show you what I bought. This is Stella. She looks a bit like Echo, except that she has a lot more gray on her sides, and her pattern's a little bit different. But she is a super dwarf reticulated python, just like Echo. The difference, though, is that Echo's localities are that she is, first, she's 87.5% super dwarf, and her localities are 50% Carrampa, 25% Kalatoa, and 12.5% Solaire. Versus Stella here, Stella is just 100% Kalatoa Island super dwarf. Now let me get my face out of here. Maybe the camera will focus if my face is out. Is it focusing? She's an F2, and that means that she is 2 generations away from wild-caught. About 7 or 8 years ago, a group of wild-caught Kalatoas were imported right before the Lacey Act ban. And there were a couple clutches produced from those in the beginning, and then out of those 2 clutches, a male from one clutch and a female from the other were put together, and they produced this young lady. So her grandparents were the wild caught. She just is a stunning animal. She's so beautiful. You know, wild type reticulated pythons are just incredible. Like, it's just crazy that this is not a morph. Now, there's a good chance that she is het for anery. She's possible het for anery, but out of the, I think, 6 Calatoas that I chose from, she has the most gray in her, so I think she's more likely to be het anery. But aside from that, you know, aside from a potential het, she is a wild type. So my plan is to raise up 2 or 3 females and 1 male to form a small breeding group of super dwarf reticulated pythons, and my goal is to make really tiny ones. They take a long time to raise up though, so right now I'm just happy to have them in my family. So I've had Stella for a few weeks now, and she's already gone from trying to flee from me. You know, in the first couple days she was kind of a little bit flighty, but then she got used to me and realized that I'm probably not a bad guy, and she now comes out of her quarantine tub when I open it, and she'll come right towards me, and we have usually outside sessions. You know, we're either in the quarantine room or outside. She's a really smart animal. She does really well. Thanks so much to all the Patreon supporters who are helping this channel grow and helping me do some really cool things with new snakes. The Patreon supporters already knew about Stella because they get advanced looks at new animals, and they get some exclusive videos and exclusive Kent videos. Hey guys, if you haven't already done it, hit the like button for me. Did you just almost go in my mouth? You did. You almost crawled into my mouth. Hit the like button for me, and you know, if you liked the video. I don't want you to lie, but also subscribe if you're not subscribed, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Oh, speaking of that, I almost forgot. I also picked up a bucket list dream snake. So the green room now has a 3rd species of python in there, and the Patreon supporters know about that one as well. Weird, I can't believe I kind of almost forgot I had that snake. Huh. Take a guess in the comments as to what species of python you think I picked up at the Pamona show, other than Stella here, and I'll show you that snake in next week's video.